Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
This might actually be considered more Canon
Ooh,
fodder-ish.
Canon Fodder review. We must be
Yes.
talking about the new Kylo Ren.
The Legacy of Vader #2.
Yeah.
It came out this last week, and we've both read it. And there's actually some interesting things to discuss, like philosophically a little bit about Kylo Ren and Vader, I guess you could say.
It actually wasn't that bad.
I mean, it does start out with the fact that he's like hanging out with a head in a jar. He's Vader's grandson, but at the same time, it sounds like nobody ever told him Anakin's full story.
No, definitely not.
Did
Well, he only
Luke
finds
and
out,
Leia even know Anakin's full story?
according to Bloodline, he doesn't even find out that Vader was his grandfather until in that book, which is about
When
6
it
years
becomes
before.
public knowledge.
Yeah, basically, he finds it out the hard way.
Like I said, and there's a lot of gray area. Like, how much do Luke and Leia honestly know about the entirety of Anakin Skywalker's life?
Depends on which part. I mean, how much do they know about his early days when he is Anakin? How much do they know about what Vader actually did? I mean, I don't know.
But what I find kind of most interesting in this comic is while Vanny is like showing off portions of Anakin's life, cluing him in about he used to be a pod racer. Oh, he was a slave. He was owned by Watto. Then before that, he was owned by Gardula the Hutt. So there's a lot of interesting pieces that you kind of start to understand a big difference between Kylo Ren and my Lord Emperor Vader.
Yes, you are a huge Vader fan. I do think you would serve him quite loyally if he were real.
I mean, one of the things we kind of see is that Vader didn't necessarily kill his past like Kylo Ren wants to do. He used his past.
Yeah, that's what the comic even suggests. It was like fuel.
It was
him.
fuel.
Yeah.
Exactly. The things that he went through fueled his eventual turn to the dark side and fueled his power within the dark side. Ben Solo didn't suffer the way Anakin did.
He was also molded by Palpatine too, which is made mention here that Palpatine took all that because Anakin confided in him, and he took all that and made him into the perfect weapon.
Right.
Essentially.
So in a way, you could almost say that Kylo Ren was never going to be the next Vader. He was never going to be Snoke's my Darth Vader.
No, he couldn't be.
He couldn't be.
He didn't have the memories and anger and rage and hate.
I mean, Anakin was born a slave. He's separated from his mother by the Jedi. When obviously
Which he willingly
misses his,
went. Yeah.
He did, but he missed her, and he knows that she was still stuck in slavery.
Which we obviously know from the prequels he was thinking about constantly, wanting to go back and free her, as he promised he would.
He promised. His mom is brutally killed.
Yes, by the Tuskens.
By the Tuskens, doing who knows what.
Seems like tortured. I mean, we don't exactly know what they did.
What Shmi's time with the Tuskens was, but
it had to be a while too.
Then we know that Anakin went on a rampage and killed the Tuskens, not just the men,
but the women
and the children. And that guilt had to be a part of his molding as well, because he was upset when he told Padme. He was angry and he was upset. It weighed on him.
Yeah, he knew he was supposed to be better than that and above that because he's a Jedi, which is what he tells Padme. You know, I know I'm better than this, and yet
that darkness. Yeah. We had Palpatine's manipulation.
Big deal there. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he hurt Padme. He choked her. He was enraged.
And before that, there were some children that may have been lightsaber down and other Jedi that may have been lightsaber down in the temple.
He fights his brother, Obi-Wan, his brother at arms, his mentor.
His best friend. His
best friend, figure,
yeah. Not really a father figure, that was Palpatine.
He battles him, then he's severely injured. And then the moment that they put him in the suit, the last vestige of him is gone because he's told in his rage that he killed Padme and his unborn child.
Oops.
Oops.
Even though he didn't really do that. But
and then you think about Ben. Ben grew up loved. His family, Ben Solo, his family loved him. Chewbacca loved him. I mean, they even show a little flashback sequence. He was surrounded by love.
Yeah, well, he gets asked, like, you must have had a similar past and be full of anger and hate and, had this torturous life. And then it flashes to, like, a full-page spread there of all the happy memories he has of his family.
Which there were many.
Yeah.
That, yes, we know that Snoke and Palpatine kind of did some manipulation along the way. Maybe planted a seed of darkness, and it finally shattered when Luke had one moment of fear of him, and it just brought out his anger and his rage, you could say. But it wasn't the same as the suffering that Vader went through.
It's interesting. I don't know how much sense it necessarily makes, but I think it makes sense in this case, the whole pulled to the light thing that we hear him say in The Force Awakens. It's kind of like, well, it's not exactly how it should work or does work, but in this case, it's like he doesn't have that same anger and hatred to draw upon that Vader did, or I would imagine most Sith obviously do. And so he is feeling like, wow, I probably once upon a time had a really good life, and there was this one moment where it's a dumb moment, but this is one moment where Luke almost slices him down in his sleep, and that sets him off.
Yeah. So Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, wasn't exactly molded and shaped and fueled by his past. Instead, he's rejecting his past.
Yeah, because he knows it was good.
It's not the same as the embracing of darkness that Anakin eventually fell to. So I think Vader will always be more powerful than him because of this deep past that totally shaped him into what he was. Kylo Ren is never destined to be another Darth Vader. He's not a Darth. He's not a true Sith.
No.
Not at all. He was really just trying to escape and run from his past, not driven by it the way Vader was.
And then, of course, the comic goes into, if you want to know the whole story here, because we're kind of covering the whole thing, he does go to hunt down Gardula.
Yeah, I mean, we also see that, unfortunately, even though there were spoilers suggesting that Darth Vader killed Watto, he did not. It just said he didn't. We don't know how he died.
No, not in the new canon here. It was not Vader, apparently.
We don't know what Watto's fate actually was.
No, he could have just died of old age, for all we know.
Yeah, Ben assumed that I have to kill the past means that my grandfather must have come back here and taken his revenge. No.
No.
He had plenty of other things he didn't care about that past because it was all about the present anger.
Yeah. So now he's going to try to kill Gardula the Hutt, and he goes out to her palace, which looked pretty cool in the comic. I don't know.
It actually did look really cool.
Yeah. And then she has a little bubble creature.
Yes, a little force bubbly creature guy who managed to snatch Kylo's saber, and Gardula was super excited because she's like, well, I don't care who your grandfather was, but you're going to have some similarities now because you're my slave.
Yes, and chains him up, and you were like, well, that's kind of hot.
Well, I don't know why, but they had to take his shirt off for that.
Well, you always take somebody's shirt off when you chain it. Well, not always, maybe.
I mean, do you want to elaborate there, sir?
Well, no, I'm talking about look what happened to Leia. Like, she didn't get her shirt off necessarily. I mean, she did, but I
always wonder and stuff like that, who redresses them? I don't know, but you get scenes and stuff like that in movies and stuff where all of a sudden, we put the princess to bed, and the next moment you see that she's in her pajamas. I'm like, I'm hoping they called a maid or something. I don't know. Like, well, who decided, well, you know what? I'm going to have to chain this guy to a wall. Maybe I should take his shirt off first. Who decided, we knocked out Leia. You know what we should do? We should strip her down and put her on a bikini.
They didn't knock out Leia, though, so she could have willingly put it on. Well, not willingly, but she could have put it on herself.
I think they would have had to knock Leia out to
I tend to believe that it wasn't willing at all. Yeah, that she probably either put up a fight or was knocked out. It was even
in one of my favorite movies, Flash Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where she wears the outfit at the end. Yeah, I remember that.
She gets her outfit changed into something
a little
more Ming appropriate.
Something a little more comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, but who put that on her? They don't answer these questions, and it always makes you wonder.
Yeah, we're getting off topic again, like we tend to do.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I think
Ben Solo.
I think they like that. No, this is actually solid. Like, I'm not a fan of the sequels. That's obviously known, but it's interesting. I give it that. It's well written. It's good. It's solid for what it is.
I actually think I liked this aspect of the comic to kind of explain why Kylo isn't Darth Vader and why we shouldn't look at him as a replacement Darth Vader, because he can't be. I appreciate that.
No, I think it's very clever. It's very smart. It's a good story for him.
If only they would have told this story much, much sooner.
Well, yeah, it is something that really defines the character, and because that's one of the problems with the character in the movies. It's like 1 minute I'm obsessed with Vader, the next minute Snoke makes fun of my helmet, so I'm like, nah, I'm not obsessed with him. Next minute I'm rebuilding my helmet because I'm obsessed with Vader. It's like, it doesn't really go into the character at all in the movies. We have to infer pretty much everything, and there's not much to work with to make that inference. But anyway, I think that's going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of this story, whether you read it or not. You can obviously tell from our recap what it was all about. And do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you just not care because it's the sequels? Whatever the case may be, though, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.